Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. If you just joined us, this is TMI, the Rivers State local government election. It's all about drama, it's all about intrigue, it's all about canning what you can and getting what you can. Federal might, state might, it was like a conundrum of all sorts, but my analyst will throw more light on that. Now, that is what we dwell on this particular segment. With me here in the studio to talk about this, it's been a while. I had a lady with me on set. Yes, it's not because I'm not gender friendly, but I like to go for the best of the best, so to speak, when you talk about analysis. So I'd like to introduce one-time deputy leader, Ipoboka Legislative Council, and of course, Executive Director, Education, under the administration of Leo Shomole. And right now, she's currently a lecturer at Uniben, the Department of Education or Management. Join me, welcome, Honorable Dr. Ame Ogbemudia Owago. Madam, it's a pleasure to have you join us in the studio.
Nice to see you for the first time anyway.
Oh, for the first time? Really?
Blood
I'm honored.
for blood, flesh. Good morning, viewers.
It's all right. It's good to have you join us in the studio. And of course, we have a very vibrant youth and articulated personnel is in the education sector, a political analyst, an Islamic scholar. Join me to welcome Alhaji Ahmed. Welcome to TMI. Appreciate your coming.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wixon. Good morning, viewers at home.
All right. Everybody close to me, a gentleman to the car was like, how did I get your contact? I was thinking about it and it just flashed. Yes. I was like, it's cool. A political analyst, vibrant public affairs commentator, and of course, I can regard to him also as a right activist. Job to welcome F.A. Solomon, or I will say, welcome to TMI on this edition. I appreciate your coming.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, so moving straight down to Rivers State. Hold it, yes. Before I'm going to be like Wilson, what about me? Joining us all the way from the U.S. via Zoom, a political analyst, public affairs commentator, human rights activist. Join me to welcome Ahmed Mamadou all the way from the U.S. Ahmed, good morning.
Good morning, Philip. Good morning, Wilson. I'm sorry. Good morning, viewers, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen in the studio.
All right. Thanks a lot for joining us via Zoom all the way from the U.S. Rivers State political crisis, review of the local government elections. Nigerians have been talking about it. People in the diaspora have been talking about it. Some be like, what in the world is going on? What kind of politics are we really practicing? Let me start off from Mama here, because I believe you have your own perception, you have your own views of what is really happening in Rivers State. You got to see the commotion, you got to see the grievances on one hand, and of course joy and excitement on the other hand, a conundrum of some sort. So what do you have to say about the recently concluded local government election in Rivers State? Let's take it up from there.
Well, yeah, from my background as a local government grassroots mobilizer, deputy leader, local government is very important as the third tier of government, which is very close to the people. See, the recent election in Rivers State, well, I think it's this demolition of structures. The present governor wants to build his own structure, and the outgone wants to say no. So the kind of power tussle, that's where the problem starts from. But my own opinion, you must be loyal to get the people. You don't come in and start struggling to build the structure from the very day you come in. You must learn first on the rope before you start building structure. Loyalty will bring you a structure.
Loyalty will bring you
Yes,
structure.
loyalty will bring the structure to you, not you fighting for the structure. First, what gives you the edge over any person is what you have done. What you have actually done will bring you those people that you really want. Say, oh, this man is doing well, this man is working, we will work with you. But in the midst that you are now fighting to enthrone, while you're leaving the services that you're supposed to face, then it causes problem. Just leave the structure, do the services that you have elected for your manifestos and everything, and let the cost take its place. By the time he's doing good road, he's working on education, doing all the things that makes people happy, ensuring that the welfare of the people of Rivers State is met, I'm sure that the people of Rivers State will by themselves come to him and say, look, you have done well. I saw on TV yesterday, APP.
Yes, APP.
Yeah, so, but I've never heard that's a party before.
But right now, that's a party involved in Rivers.
That is holding in Rivers. So, and the APP got 22 local, and the only one left, we don't know the party that owns that. So you see, trying to build structure without a base might not stand.
Might not stand.
In the long run.
All right. I will come back to you. Well, Ahmed, you heard I said the students are struggling for structure. I believe she's referring to Simi Fubara, the governor of Rivers State. He said, just be loyal, do what you need to do as a governor. People would just fall in love with you rather than you coming in for the first thing. The next thing you're doing, you're dragging structures, and now it's like you're pulling it towards APP. Now, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, thank you. I will agree with Dr. Egogbemudia.
Amen.
Egogbemudia, pardon me, because a sister to the local government chairwoman of EGO, so it's still on my brain. So apologies for that, Dr. Mrs. Yes, I will agree with you to some extent because the problem with our current day politician is power tussling. Everybody wants to remain in power, undermining the primary aim and goal at which they were elected into power. And having said that, the power tussle or building structure for them is not actually winning the hearts of the Rivers indigenes. It's just the political structure that they are trying to hold on to so that at the end of the day they can say XYZ within the state. Now, the structures that Fubara is trying to build for himself, it will be a difficult one for him because of the fact that he is new into the political game. He was just a civil servant when he was brought in to become the governor of Rivers State. So though as a civil servant, that doesn't mean he's politically naive, but to have the structure, he does not have such a structure on ground before now. Unlike those who grew from the ranks, like our doctor now, who had had a legislative position at the local government level. He already has a structure at our own base at the local government level. But unlike Fubara, who is just coming in from the civil service, he does not have any political structure. He came into the power from this political structure of a former governor, Jens Wike. So, but the only clause that I have within this in this whole struggle is just that this fight needed not to have come on board. It needed to have just focused on giving the Rivers people the true governance that they needed. Focusing on that, as Mama said, then by so doing, probably you may win the heart of the people. But where he's trying to struggle off now is that you will agree with me that you can't come into power as an independent candidate. You have to come in through a political party. And now, winning an election, your political party that you are using matters most. So what he is foreseeing in the nearest future is that since he had a fallout with his former boss, and he is most likely that the structure of PDP is with Winky, they may not give him the return tickets for him to come back to power. So with that, he's not thinking of, okay, if I start building my own at this very early stage, Probably before it gets to 2027, he may actually have a grip of the entire state. And knowing politicians for who they are, it is who pay them higher that their loyalty comes to. Because most of them, apologies to them, they don't have job. They depends on the system. Mama is a lecturer. Whether she can go to any stakeholders meeting and tell them the truth, because none of them is feeding her, because she's getting a salary where she's working. But most of them, they don't have that kind of, salary-based system. They depends on the political leaders for the scrums that they will be throwing to them. So by so doing, they will now have to do the bidding of their political leaders. So now Fubara now looking at it that 2027 will become a problem for him. He's trying to build his own structure. But in summary of this whole structure that he's trying to build, it will still end up in shambles because it will not be able to achieve his goal.
For real?
Yeah, it will end up in shambles. Yes, okay, it will not be able to achieve his goal. So he would have just tried his possible best to amend the differences between him and Nyesom Wike. Even if it's just only one term you are going to do as a governor. And Busali did not do 2 terms as a governor, but his name is still being echoed. I attended Busali University. I didn't say Busali 101. His name is still being echoed. You must not do 2 terms. So this 1 term that is being given to you, do your best and write your name in gold.
Okay.
And with that, you'll be remembered for the future.
I will come back to you, Alhaji Ahmed. Well, let's come to Solomon. Well, it's like a roller coaster ride in Rivers State right now, colored from salt. Some are saying that the fight that Fubara is engaged in right now with his former boss, Nyesom Wike, is the fight for the survival of democracy. That he needs to fight to finish. He needs to fight godfatherism. That is why the man is doing what he's doing. Like what he said before the election was conducted. I am going to conduct the election. The heavens will not fall. We don't need you. The election must hold. And it's held. Take it up from there.
Yes, I would say the key things that we can learn from this sort of power tussle, it's got to do with the issue of people wanting greed, I would say. Greed. Greed in the sense that the structure that he or his accomplices are trying to take over is what got him there in the first place. And in addition to the manifestos that promises this is what he's going to do. Now, that he spent the last 1 year, what I would call wasted year, going to years now, not delivering on what, or not serving the people, not delivering on what he promises or what the party promises, but fighting this, what I would call irrelevant battles. You have to pick your battles. As the governor of a state, you're supposed to serve, not being served or worshipped. So greed comes in where, if you look at the history that he has with, for example, Barrister Nyesom Wike, from what we've read and what we've heard, is that he's had a very good relationship with his former principal or the former governor. Moving forward, if he is fighting against godfatherism, is it now that he's going to fight against godfatherism? Or is he trying to impute on himself or embed himself there as a potential godfather? The case, how I understand it, is, if you look at the papers today, they say that APP wants to into local government. Is he a member of APP? The Punch newspaper said that that's the proxy party, his proxy party. So APP come from where? Come from the clouds and suddenly gets into local government chairmanship in the state. What are we going to learn from this? I'll take you back to the Edo State election. On the day that they did the governorship, gubernatorial election in Edo State, there was local government election in Kwara State. A week after that, or there was local government election in Anambra. Just yesterday, there was local government election in Jigawa.
In Jigawa, yeah.
So why are these people suddenly fighting for fighting against the structure? You know. So I would say, in my opinion, no one is fighting godfatherism or fighting for democracy, as your question, sort of, in answering your question. But I think it's just selfish interest.
Selfish interest.
That's what I think.
All right. Let's move straight down to the U.S. Let's get to hear the views and, of course, opinions of Ahmed. Now, people are of the opinion that the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, is 100% behind what is happening in Rivers State, and Simi Fubara is on the right track. After all, he has done his tenure. He should leave the state alone. Is it all about democracy or all about structure? Over now to you, Ahmed.
So historically, we've seen how all this has played out between so-called godfathers and their godsons. And I think the people of Nigeria, Rivers State in particular, we're all tired of these shenanigans that politicians bring about every once in a while. Nobody should mask their ambition in the garb of morality, either calling it fighting godfatherism or putting an end to any of all those things. The truth is, they are only interested in their personal ambitions. And they come out and they tell all these long stories. If Fubara did not want a godfather, he should have said so from the beginning and left somebody that didn't come with the baggage of a godfather to come and be governor. You accepted the terms of your contract in the middle of the game. You want to change the terms. These things are recurring. The truth of the matter is the Nigerian constitution or the Nigerian electoral system makes it mandatory for you to have a godfather before you can assume political office, whether you like it or not. The political parties are the only vehicles by which you can assume political power. And you cannot the political parties are themselves physical structures. They are manned by people, they are manned by benevolent godfathers or wicked godfathers or whatever you want to call them. So accepting that fact before the game is the reality on the ground. Nobody needs to be playing all those pranks anymore. It's untrue. But on the long run, the people who will suffer from this are the people of Rivers State who are not getting any form of governance. They are not getting any development. Now we are running into the second year of his tenure, and he's talking about fighting godfatherism. Wike is there causing distractions on his own. It's enough. Look at what they've done. Look at how much damage and destruction they've brought to Rivers State. They went the other day and demolished the House of Assembly complex, worth several billions of naira. Enough is enough. The people of Rivers State need to rise up and tell these people, enough is enough. You need to come back to us and deliver on the promises that you've made. You are running out of time.
All right. I'll come back to you, Ahmed. Said enough is enough, because he talked about godfatherism, godson, fighting each other. The state is bleeding because funds being earmarked for these battles, so to speak, in quote. But let's take a look at it from this perspective. Can one really conduct an election without a complete register? And was INEC wrong for not supplying the full register of voters to RCEC, at least to conduct the election? That should be one of the steps. What do you have to say about the action of INEC? Yes.
Okay. The action of, INEC has been controlled, I say. And it's wrong to conduct an election without register. Because the people on the register, that's how you know who are the voters. But the way it's conducted now, since they didn't get INEC, for me, that election is null and void. That's your own opinion. That's my own opinion, because it's not conducted with the proper register of people of Rivers State. And for one party that's never, I don't know, never existed.
No, it's in existence. It's in existence right now. APP is in existence.
APP is in existence in Rivers State. And then suddenly, no campaign, no manifesto, no action plans. Suddenly, you just heard that, oh, APP got the whole local government. How? How did that happen? Who are the people that were actually nominated to be chairman and councillors of that local government that they have? Do they bring, are they from Rivers State, or they just make up names? Are they elected, electable? Are they actually going to represent their people? Like I am a former deputy leader of a local government. I serve my people because I came under a party. And you cannot conduct election without a party. And I promised I was going to do X, Y, Z. And every time we do what we're asked to do boreholes, do grading of the road and all that. Those are the things that you're supposed to do. And then before the election proper, there are posters that is to be printed to give awareness to the people. These are the people that are going to contest. And then people know, oh, this person is contesting this. But in Rivers State, I'm sure there's no one poster, there's no one banner of these people that actually contested for that election. So for the fact, it is really absolutely wrong to say election has gone without the peripheries of election proper. That is, you know, looking at local government, it's supposed to be the biggest power among the three tiers of government because they are the closest to the people. If a ward is developed, the state by so is developed because the ward belongs to the state. If the local government, every local government can tie the road, the state has nothing to do. So the local government should be handled properly for us to get development because the roads that you are seeing today that are bad, they are all in works, they are all in local government. So if local government elections are always done in shambles like this, without the recourse to the people coming to, oh, just my own, then we are going nowhere. Until we empower the local government properly, then we will achieve that goal that that this government is supposed to achieve. You look at the roads now, erosion. You are calling the state government, for example. The state government is not close to the people. But it's easier for the people to cry to the local government chairman and say, look, our road is bad. And they say, okay, now mobilize people to go and do that road. I'm sure that time, local governments will become powerful to give people the desired dividends of democracy. If I do, I say, in my word then, I tell them, I am the one representing the governor. Whatever you want, come and ask me. And I will tell the governor, this is what my people want. And they don't know you as in your ward. They don't know you in your local government. They don't know you. And then how do you represent them? You know, so I'm happy that the autonomy is coming to local government. INEC will now take over. If INEC is going to take over the election of local government, I'm sure it will stop all these governors trying to just fix people to become local government chairmen or councillors without recourse to the people.
Without recourse to the people?
Yes, without recourse to the people.
Okay, now, let me come to you, Ahmed. Now, you get to realize that the same situation must happen in Anambra State, where the governor said no. So in other words, like, we don't need beavers to operate. Forget about beavers. Now, in Rivers State, they were asked about register. INEC said, we're not going to give it to you. Two different situations. I don't think that somehow, like what they're accusing in some wiki to have a hand or two in this, don't you think that the federal might is becoming overbearing? That's the reason why they just to make that stand. Because he said, trying to play to the whims and caprices of a nameless man. You know, he was referring, but he didn't mention his name, to wiki. So who is now playing the flute and who is dancing to the music that these governors are rejecting and resisting?
Thank you. You see, Nigeria democracy, the way the power at the central level,
Yeah.
in fact, is very, very mighty. Let me use that word. You see, unlike the American kind of democracy, whereby the states have their own autonomous power to some extent, while the federal operates on their own level. But in Nigeria, in fact, the power is from on top, down to the states and down to the local government. And that is why you see local government elections, the governors are telling you, this is our internal affair. And if you listen to you, Fubara, he made mention of that stuff, that is an internal affair. That is why they use local government as a way of settling their boys, settling people. You understand? Now, coming back to your question, yes, Wike, everybody knows him. He's a powerful man, strong. And in terms of South-South politics currently, in fact, he's trying to hold grip to become like at least apex leader. Let me use that word. To control things, to ensure that, okay, we are in charge, so that we'll be able to control the governance and the way things are going. Before now, the essence of democracy was because they said government of the people, by the people, for the people. So power belongs to the people. Let the people decide who lead them. So the aim was actually a good one. But when it came to Nigeria, being who we are, smart people, we have to corrupt the system to ensure that we know the power belongs to the people, but there must be some persons that will decide who this power will belong to. Like as we did on the radio that they will say, is for selected people, not really for everybody. So now you say court saying that INEC should not give them voters register. Now let me ask you a question. Why will the court instruct INEC not to release the register? What must have led to that stage that court will now say INEC don't release register? What has the register have to do? Is the register being released to the governor going to cause harm in the state? Or going to kill somebody? Why won't local government election take place? Must you always put a critical committee? Must you always leave the local government without being governed? In every state, immediately your tenure expires, the very next seconds, another person is taking over. But why will it be in the case of the local governments? You can, in fact, some persons can run a local government without elected local government chairmen and councillors for like 2-3 years. You understand? But why must it be that way? So why will INEC now come? Why will a court now say, okay, INEC don't release voters register? Yes, I agree with Doctor that yes, the election now is almost non-avoid because without the voters register, because it is those who are registered voters that ought to take part in the.
But they have, they are registered. They came up with names and they pasted the names and all that, saying that this is what we want.
So probably from the 2027 governorship election, that 2024 governorship election, 2023 governorship election, yes, definitely register was there. But why they are always referring for the latest register is that, there is always, periodically, there's always a continuous voters registration, whereby some persons will come into the state. For example, now I'm in Edo State, now I may relocate to Rivers State next month, for example. An election is coming 2027, and I may choose to transfer my voting power down to Rivers State. So if you are now using the voters register of 2023, then automatically you are going to deny me of casting my votes in 2027. So that is why they always request for the current voter registration register, so that to capture the current persons that are now within the state, because some have left, some have died, some just came in. So you need to have the current one so that they can take part. But with the voters register or without the voters register, local government election is usually a state affair that they used to settle, their political, supporters. It was only in 1999, down to the first year, that local government election was actually conducted, that at least everybody took part. In some states, this party will have this, and that party will have this. But from after 1999 to 2003, then from 2003, they started spoiling it. Then when after that first 8 years, from there on, it now became a just forget. There was nothing like local government election. Is it the one that Obaseki conducted? Is it the one you said they would take place in Anambra? Or is it the one that just took place in Rivers State? Nothing like local government election. It's just that if they just appoint somebody to be there, they'll say, no, this person was not elected. And let's just follow the process and say, okay, you were elected. And
so you're saying it's a selection process?
It's a selection process. No, it's a fact.
I will come back
Mama
to
just
you.
said, okay, that who are those persons? Yes, in that aspect,
yes,
they are actually the PDP members. Just that the structure of the PDP, those one refuse to say, okay, no, we are not allowing you to use our structure. Okay, my brother, my boy, you, okay, just go to that party, collect form.
I'll come back to you. I will come back to you. Now, the question I asked, that's why you threw back also, why would a court restrain INEC from releasing the register to RCEC to conduct local government election? Remember that we have different court injunctions or court rulings. Yes, release it. No, don't release it. And those protesters that you saw are protesting, basing their protest on the ruling that the local government election in Rivers State should not hold. They are saying Fubara should stick to that, but the man refused. Is this a case of state versus federal? Now, what is the interest of federal might in the Rivers State local government election? After all, like what both of them said is to, like an internal thing, to settle the boys and all that.
I think in the answer to your first question, which is why would INEC not release the register to was INEC right in doing that? Yes, I would say INEC was right not to release the register, because it depends on the synergy between INEC, the local INEC, which is the River State Independent Electoral Commission, and the Independent Electoral Commission on the federal level. What is the synergy between them in terms of looking at the register? You talk about Anambra, for example. Anambra said, APGA said, we don't need
beavers. We don't need beavers. That's what they said. We don't need it.
There's really no synergy between the local electoral commission in Anambra State and with INEC, with the federal one. So INEC, we can say INEC is right not to release it because they can turn around and say they're obeying
court
order. Then let's extrapolate it to the court itself. Who has jurisdiction over the affairs of River State? Is it the federal high court in River State, or we go to the federal high court in Abuja, where somebody goes? So these are all legal matters. But in the long run, whether election is being conducted by INEC or the River State Independent Electoral Commission, it's neither here nor there. Why? Because there is a template. They have to use the template. Whether it's up to date or it's not up to date, that issue is on those who are responsible for updating that thing. But to go outside not using the template, and like what the pronouncement of the governor was saying is that we don't need this, we don't even need your police, we don't need your police, and we'll do it. Is the governor legally mandated to conduct the election, even if it's a local government election? No, it's not. We have the Electoral Commission there. So it is not really an internal matter per se. That's why I say the synergy between the INEC and the local representation of the Electoral Commission.
Yeah.
We have to look at that synergy. So the court comes with their own legal thing. The IGP, for example, comes and says, "Look, we're going to respect
court order,
what the court says. So we're not going to provide protection." And then the locals that holds grievance against, for example, the government, goes out and say, "You must obey the court order." The political parties that refuse to engage or be involved in that particular. So there's so many things that come into play. So first, INEC is right to obey court order, but INEC is also wrong not to release the register, because what has happened now is there is no legal backing You know, the federal government might turn around tomorrow and say, we don't recognize that particular election that was conducted there. And so we're not going to disburse what the allocation is because we believe that the right register was not used.
Oh, so that is where we are going to next. You understand it? Well, let's get straight down to Mahmoud over there in the U.S. If you just raised the point saying that might just be the next target, local government allocation. Don't forget that in Anambra State, Soludo said we do not need beavers. To him, it is not reliable because of some issues they've been having, maybe some areas they don't have network. An election went on smoothly. Fubara asked for the register. They said no because they want to follow court's order saying do not give the register because the election will not hold in Rivers State. Two-pronged questions, so to speak. On one hand, we had various court injunctions for Simi Fubara and, of course, against Simi Fubara. Various courts giving their own judgment, so to speak. On the other hand, Fubara going ahead to conduct the election, damning all consequences. And from your own perspective, the election conducted yesterday in Rivers State, will it be legally recognized? Take it up from there. Three fronts.
So I'm going to sit on the prognosis of my co-discussants because they've been very brilliant in their analysis. Ahmed has made it clear that a lot of these things, there is precedence for everything that has happened. Which local government election are we going to use as the standard for the proper conduct of local government elections? And he traced it back to 1999 and has told us clearly that from that point downwards, it has been a clear and rapid descent into what we are now witnessing in Rivers State, where there's complete anarchy. The governor is talking about fighting godfatherism, but when you have the results in favor of 22 local governments in favor of an unknown party and one outstanding, what is that not godfatherism on pro max? On what level of godfatherism is that? And then Efe highlighted very clearly also that following, if we are going about legal questions that all this has raised, what is the basis of INEC withholding the voters register from the State Electoral Commission? That's a public document. Some of these things, they beggar belief. When INEC says they are not going to hand over a public document to a requesting party, it now gives you the impression that they've taken sides already in the anarchy that is unfolding in Rivers State. Now look at the images that you are sharing. There's a looming loss of property and life. There's a constant threat to property and life in that Rivers State environment. You can see people running around with placards and holding banners and all sorts of things. Time is going, money is going. What are the people gaining from all of this? What is the benefit of all of this? We need to start asking some of this. Also, that one of the co-discussants raised the issue that if the elections are said to be valid, the federal government is going to withhold the resources of them. That might be where the end game is. That's probably where these politicians are playing to. But we are playing a very dangerous game because the people of Nigeria, faced with all the hardship they are already facing, they do not need destruction and loss of life and money that is about to take place on a scale probably not seen before in Nigeria, in Rivers State. We need to be very careful with this democracy because it's a very delicate thing. And I think some of these actors are playing it to the point of no return.
All right, thank you so much, Abel. Well, you've heard him. As it stands right now, it's all about the end game. Do you think the local government in Rivers State stands to lose a lot if everyone chooses to hold on to their own side of right, so to speak? One, you were not given the register. You went to a conducted election. An unknown party, according to you here, won the election in landslide. The federal government may not recognize the local government and they may choose to withhold allocation. If they do that, what about other states that are still operating caretaker committee? Over now to you, madam.
Thank you. Like I'll use this word, the local government election in Rivers State, in my opinion, is pro-mass skeptical committee.
Pro-mass skeptical committee, how?
Yeah, because
elections took place.
Yes,
people came out to vote despite the protest. So what would you say is pro-mass skeptical committee?
Because you cannot just conduct an election of a known party, no campaign, no awareness of the people that, yes, this is the party versus this party. Then suddenly you just chunk out results of APP. And that, for me, like Ahmed said, pro-mass skeptical committee. Because the autonomy coming to local governments says they will no longer recognize
skeptical committee.
But
that's why he conducted the election. People came out to vote.
So, yes, that's what I mean. It's okay. That's why it is proxy or pro-mass, the way we're going to look at it, so that when they're arguing that, oh, you didn't conduct, you have skeptical, I say, no, people came out to vote. He has his own argument. And by the time the law takes its course, everybody have their own argument. And I am 100% sure that this is going to go back to legal, it's going to be a legal tussle, real legal tussle. Exactly. That this election you conducted it in shambles. INEC register is not there, he has to defend that. And by law, the governor, yes, you cannot, yes, you have the power to constitute INEC,
yes, the local government,
yes. No, your state,
yes.
And then, but you don't have the right to write the result. But what we see today is because all the 36 states, all the governors, both in and out, they are all guilty of this same offense.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's difficult to say, but they are all
guilty of the same offense.
This same offense. And those states also did the same thing. The present one, even before now, it was long time the election. When I did my local
government... He says it's 2003, that's when everything just goes spoiled, finally.
When I did my election in 2007,
yes,
I campaigned as if I was going for governorship. My posters were everywhere, on TV, on radio. It was a battle as if people were asking, are you contesting governor? The way you are campaigning.
Going about it, yeah.
It gives me that feeling. Yes, I actually contested. But in these days, you don't see the poster of who is contesting, but you see the result of who have won.
Wow.
So how do we get, how do you expect this election, whether the governor is going to scream and say enough is enough, is going to come back to him because all the people are going back to court to answer whether the election is valid without INEC register or is invalid with their own voters who came out to vote without being. So that's...
Wow. Now, is this good to the local government or bad to the local government? Some are saying, on one hand, this administration led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, beloved president, is trying to rejuvenate the local government. But what is happening right now on the state level, on the local government, about the local government, is like it's being stifled because, as you rightly said, the end game, no subvention, no allocation. Would that be healthy for the local government, Ahmed?
In fact, Nigeria democracy. In fact, when you are trying to come out from this side, I usually tell people that, you know, in the 18th century, 19th century, you see scientists, they were actually the genius. But you see this 21st century, the politicians are the genius. Never you take a politician for granted. They are very, very smart. Most of them are smarter than Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. I'm telling you. They are very, very smart. You see, this smart now, when my guy now raised one issue, I quickly thought, I said, that's true. Allocation may be held.
Yeah.
You see another issue? But my brother Ahmed Momodu also said, why will INEC not release the register? You know, we thought about it, I say, in fact, if I let the independent really be independent, so someone will answer, hope you are not referring to ITV. I said, no, it's not ITV. You understand? Is INEC really independent? You are not supposed to take side. It's a public property.
But I'm saying court injunction says no, they are very court order.
Now look at the court now. One will give, you see, the judiciary have made a mess of themselves for so long. one court will give a judgment, another one will just come and do the opposite of what that one have done. Until when you now get to Supreme, you'll be expecting one. You see, Supreme will just come sometimes and give you basketballs that you will be what you say, but since it's the final judgment, nothing for you to do. Now waiting judgment day. You see, because the judiciary actually that's supposed to have been the hope. Most times people lose faith on the judiciary. Because, okay, look, now this matter will go to judiciary now. Though I guess that's where it to go. If, for example, the federal government decide to withhold the allocation, I am very sure Fubara and the local government chairman will do a petition, will go to court. Where will my allocation be withheld? Then the presidency or the federal, as the case may be, will say, we did not recognize that your election because there was no voter SYZ. Well, election was conducted following this SYZ because actually the RICSEC, the Rivers State Electoral Commission, so
announced the results.
Yes, they are the ones that have the right to conduct the election, which they will tell you they conducted and they released results. Then the matter will now go to court. Look at where the issue now is. When the matter go to court, the Federal High Court in Rivers State may pass a judgment that will favor the governor. When it now move that have left the governor's domain, the judgment that will come from them will hit the other one with a very sledgehammer. You now see where the problem is. So people are beginning to lose faith in this so-called democratic system. To be candid with you, like you know, when we on that radio television, when we people start, you see, voter parties reducing on a very daily basis. Because people are losing faith. What is the essence of me coming out to cast my vote when I cannot feel the impact of the votes that I came out to cast? You understand? So people are losing faith on a daily basis. You also made mention of the fact that, okay, if this autonomy is given to local government, I told somebody yesterday that if autonomy is given to the local government, it will become worse. You know why? Most of these local governments, if all of us are now a product of this, we are now watching. Even me at my own small level, now, I'm looking at the governor, looking at the presidency, none of them is a cent any longer. In fact, I bet you none of them will go into that local government council that first and foremost, how to make money will not be the first priority. Forget it, even if it's an imam or a reverend father or a pastor. That the major first thing will be money. Now you are still on that governor, whereby the governor chooses to give you whatever he chooses to give you. You still decide to say, okay, my own share must come out if at all. Now the whole allocation now comes to you, and now the supremo over it. Unless the local governments, they have a sense that you will see redevelopment. Yes. It will remain. That the governor does not even have power to withhold the money any longer. Right. And by so doing, because the current people in fact, the Nigerians that we have, I don't know how we're going to salvage our situation. Honestly speaking, giving autonomy is not, to me, I don't even see it as a blessing. But to some extent, it's still going to be a blessing because the governors are overdoing. But when it now becomes a free and fair, when it now becomes an INEC property this time around, then by so doing, the incumbent party, or no, the ruling party, that's the right, the ruling party may no longer have 18 over 18 as the usually is. Because look at the last election, we all know that Donut is the dominant of the APC. But you see, you said 18 over 18, you won. But in the other governorship election, it did not reflect the local government. Because ordinarily, if the grassroots was actually for you, it would have reflected
the governorship election. But they have a knack also about the governorship election. We'll talk about that later. Because,
in summary,
yes,
the autonomy is just like you are giving somebody something here and it's going to see command from the other
all right. Everyone say, well, it's like we were going around this particular issue, the end game. You raise it, will be seizure of allocation. But how do we get out of this mess? Like what Ahmed rightly said, voter apathy is increasing. Everybody's losing faith. They are losing interest. Before you know it, be like, please do whatever you want to do. Exactly. I'm not coming out to vote. How do we get out of this?
That's a very good question. And we just go back to what the very, very first question you asked when Honorable said that it's a matter of a case of loyalty. Loyalty. So voter apathy has come in. Godfatherism has come in. And it's a shame. I'm sad to say that Rivers State, one of the most resourceful states in the Federation, has become the poster child or the guinea pig of how not to conduct local government election. You know, it's a shame in that regard. But what can we learn from this? You know, we've listed a few things, shortcomings on the side of the governor, on the side of the so-called established political structure, on the side of INEC, on the side of the courts. And then now we're going to say, allocation-wise, you know, how are they going to get the allocation if the federal government doesn't recognize the election? How do we get out of this? It's pretty simple. There is an end time specified by the federal government for states to conduct local government election. So perhaps that's one of the reasons why the governor, similarly for Fubara, was held bent on conducting this election. And no matter how unlawful, if you like, it seems. The way to get out of it is, one, the federal government should have gone ahead and say, as part of our local government autonomy and giving the allocation directly to them, whoever is there, the state governor has no control over them, no control whatsoever. And they also accountable, just like the state government, to the people. The issue of control political structure, power, hungry, that will be reduced greatly if whoever is in a position of service is made accountable. Accountability matters. Transparency is also very important. How was this election conducted? If at all the election was conducted, was it transparent enough? You know, who were the participants? So the template has to be created now using River State local government election as the guinea pig, so to say, of how not to conduct election, and then put things in place on the part of the umpire, INEC, the courts, jurisdiction-wise, and also the parties that are there, the participants in the party. Not one party just come from left field, you know, even though we might know the party, APP, here in Edo State or in other states. But from what we can see, people are saying that it was just a proxy party.
Proxy party.
Of the state.
All right, all right, all right.
We have to make accountability. Accountability first to the citizens of that particular state or local government.
All right. Thank you so much, Efe. Now let's get straight down to U.S. where Mamadou is like, you know, standing by. It's like your last comment on this particular discussion segment. So I'm saying that right now we are talking about local government autonomy, but what transpired in Rivers State is that the federal government right now, in court, they are testing their mind when you talk about local government election using the courts. What do you have to say about this? And of course, the way out of this mess. Over now to you. Mamadou, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
We've established all your speakers. In fact, let me first of all give kudos to everybody that you've assembled today. You have some very brilliant minds in the studio. They are really analyzing things. It's brilliant submissions all around, ladies and gentlemen. But to the question you asked, what do we say about the local government elections and the autonomy? The push now, what the federal government is doing, because of the practice of democracy and everything that has been highlighted from 1999 to date, it has become very clear that the superintending forces of the governors over the local government has really stifled local government, not just autonomy, development, infrastructural, financial, economic, and in every sphere. So the powers that be came to the conclusion that the best way would be to probably insulate the local government from the state government. A few of the co-panelists, they have highlighted some of the imbalances that are going to occur when this comes to play. But I would like to look at it from a little more positive point of view that just like the madam has pointed out, the local government is the first tier, is the closest to the people. And so if I think we've come to the point in Nigeria where there is a lot of awareness on the power of the voters, and they should be able to hold the local government politicians or officials to account for their funds. Concurrently, if the federal government now releases funds to local governments, and like I think the last time that was done was maybe in the time of Obasanjo or Konjo Iweala, if my memory serves me correctly, they would list the allocations to the local governments every month in detail, in accurate detail, and they will tell you, say, for example, I'm from Isako West. They will tell you Isako West received 400 million naira for the month of January, and so on and so forth. Now, the people, the participants in that local government, the electorate in that local government, they will know the house of the local government chairman. When it is said that we got 400 million in January, we'll go to the man and ask him, you got 400 million. Where are you applying it? This road needs to be fixed. This school needs to be done. This health center needs to be addressed, and so on and so forth. So there's a little bit of balance, but I don't think we should completely lose hope in the ability of people to marshal their own resources if it comes to that level. Let's try, we've tried the option of letting the governors run it as they like and no oversight. Let's see if people having oversight will bring a different result. Because at this point in time, what do we have to lose? We can only try it and give it our best shot and see if it works out for us.
All right, thank you so much, Mahmoud Ahmed. Well, it's all about political crisis in the Rivers State, the review of the local government election. Some are saying this time around, if you're talking about autonomy, it's not all about local government freedom. That somehow in Rivers State has been used as a guinea pig right now. It's like the federal government is testing their might on how to take or manipulate the outcome of the government election. And of course, looking at also the power of the state governors to resist the impact, or let's say the influence of the federal government. In all, according to Ponder, it's all about states versus federal, fighting for the soul of the local government. Who will win? Who will lose? Who will make or who will break? But one thing is certain, according to reports everywhere, no life was lost. Now that we should be thankful to God for. No life was lost despite the hues, despite the protest, despite the explosion. No life was lost. At least Nigerians still have value for human life, no matter the kind of electoral position we are fighting for. I think I'll give kudos to the Rivers State electorate and of course the governor, the agitators, you just name it. We didn't record any life lost. Kudos for that. But talking about the soul of the local government, is this how we should be conducting election? Why would federal and state government be fighting over the local government, knowing fully well that we're talking about local government autonomy? Who will be responsible? Who will be in charge? The local government, they say, is the closest to the people. If they say it's at a particular point, that means the best of democracy will not get down to the masses. Gentlemen, and of course, lady, thank you so much for coming on today's show. I appreciate a wonderful analysis.